Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Mr. MC. So that was interesting. When I see someone right behind you. I want to take this opportunity to put my hat off to all the dignitaries, the deputy ministers here present, the permanent secretary, Dr. Mimi Simona, deputy governor, Zimbabwe, Dr. Mache, the chief directors from the ministry, Ms. Makombe and Dr. Noah, and all protocols you observe. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to do here is to present the findings from you, especially the industry and commerce, captains of industry and participants. I like President, the small peers has been said that we are not here to just pamper each other, but to say the truth so that we can move forward. Even the Bible says the truth shall set you free. So what I'm doing here is not my views, but these are the views from you. The idea is that so that we move forward towards the ADS 1 achieving it and also towards Vision 2030. So you will see that as we move, I will be giving you that and for us not to just think, but the relevant institutions or government departments to act so that we can move. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. So, just again, I apologize. Yes. So, what we have here is the state of the 2022 State of Industry and Commerce finding, where the report was data collection or field work was done between June and September this year. I recall, among others, here I think in August, in one of the rooms here at this hotel with some stakeholders. Then in September, we were in Bulawayo at Rainbow Towers, among others. Then also for others, what we did was through virtual means, especially with a standardized questionnaire. So we distributed 2,000 questionnaires to members of the ZNCC across the 13 sectors that you are going to see briefly. And of that, we got 1,695 completed questionnaires that were usable. So that's translated to 85%. So the survey here is a comprehensive in nature that it covers all the sectors of the economy, 13 of them, that is industry and commerce. And as already has been said by the President and also by the CEO, this 2022 survey is a build up from the inaugural survey of last year in December 2021, which the CEO has articulated very well. That is ZNCC, they have seen a gap in terms of such a survey, and for us to move the issue of research to get evidence from the ground becomes very important, so that policymakers, they do their policies guided by what the industry, what the policy is saying, and what economic players are saying, rather than the thumbs up or rather than by emotions. But this is by what is on the ground when we took the data in June up to September. All of the policy suggestions from the previous survey, which is the 2021 of last year, were listened to, and some are being implemented by government. We thumbs up to government. We'll show you a table where we just see from the recommendations of last year that you, industry and commerce, has given to especially government, how far or how they moved in terms of implementation percentage, you see that in a number of areas, government has been trying and is still implementing. So we continue as ZNCC to work that the listening policymakers will continue to consider the recommendations for that we will show now. What were the objectives? Very simple, 5 of them for this survey when we did it. So the objectives were: 1, review the macroeconomic developments in the country. 2, measure capacity utilization across major sectors. As the CEO has already said, ZNCC on this report is covering 13 sectors, and as you see in a number of areas, it's complementing what other business membership organizations are doing, like the Chamber of Mines. The Chamber of Mines mostly deals with mining, the formal mining sector, whereas the CZI do a survey on the manufacturing sector. So there is no competition there, but it's complementing this of ZNCC is comprehensive that it covers the sectors. Examine the extent of industry and commerce, formal job creation and losses, which will identify challenges weighing on the ease of doing business in comparison with other countries. And lastly, measure business confidence in the nation Zimbabwe. I see that the team already has given you that's the report. So my presentation here will be just a summary. We have presented this to show the response rate by the 13 sectors when we interacted with them through the questionnaires to say this is what we got. We are flagging it here so that as you are seated there, from whatever sector you belong to, one of these 13 sectors, you judge yourself whether are you happy in your sector with the response that is there. So in other words, we are encouraging you and your colleagues in your specific sector of this stage to say, come next year, can you respond in numbers so that you can see how all the views or more of your business taken on board. By the thumbs up to agriculture, hunting and fishery and forestry, their share was 18%, wholesale and retail, repair of motor vehicles and motorcycles 13%, mining and quarrying 8%, manufacturing and construction, also mining and quarrying 10%, manufacturing and constructing 9%, education, with respect, thank you, Deputy Minister, education sector as a whole, 12% response rate. So as a share of the total 13%, which is very much high. So we are encouraging you, come next year, if you can, in your sector, respond and also respond in numbers. While on this sector, some may say, who came up with this? When we did this, we are also working in direction with the Zimstat. Zimstat, we know they are the custodian in terms of official data in the country. They classify our industry and commerce in these 18 sectors. That's how we came with these 18 sectors. So it's not just a feeling to say, well, we want 18 and this and that. Now, we are already in the part of defining this. This is capacity utilization, because when we're interacting with you in the questionnaire, also there was a specific question to say, how do you measure your capacity utilization? And also we know we have the results of last year. So what you can see is overall capacity utilization this year compared to last year, there has been an increase. Last year, the overall capacity utilization was 47.5. That is across all these sectors, 13 sectors. This year, capacity utilization is 63%, which is a move of there around 15.5%, which is a very, very big jump. As you can see, So how do we lead it? Very simple. Let's look on the first sector, the electricity, gas, steam, and air condition supply. In 2022, their capacity utilization average in that sector was 40%. Last year it was 39%. Of course, it's a 1% increase. But the last column, that arrow going up, it shows, just showing visually that there was an increase. Then you can see for some of the sectors where there were serious jumps. For instance, number 3 there, you can see arts, entertainment, and education. We all agree. Where this year there were no, if I'm not mistaken, there were no lockdowns. And by nature, arts is face-to-face in most cases. It jumped from 10% last year to 54% this year. Then you see also transport and storage. Of course, last year it was 77%. Again, it increased to 80%. One sector, which you also agree, we are very fed economy in terms of our agriculture. The only sector where there was a drop this year compared to last year is agriculture, especially forestry. That's where there was a decline. As you can see, last year it was 80% and 58% this year. So I'm sure it's a combination of many factors, among others, the rain itself, that we are rain fed. But we are happy that we have one of the partners who was here from the fertilizer sector. That so fertilizer industry also, you need to check and also do your best there to ensure that even as we do our agriculture, even in rural areas, make your fertilizer maybe affordable, so that my Amai or Mbuya somewhere can afford. So I'm not marketing your products, but I'm just saying, can you make the fertilizer affordable so that most farmers can afford? So we asked stakeholders across those sectors to say, what were the reasons for high capacity utilization? And also, what were the reasons for low capacity utilization? Because if I may go back, all we are saying is, with the exception of ICT, transport, mining, most, yes, they are all, they moved, but we want, in an ideal economy, capacity utilization of above 70, if not 75%. That's the ideal for most, in an ideal economy. We want capacity utilization of above 75%. So all I'm saying now, while they are all in the 40s or 50s, but we are saying it's still low than an ideal scenario, where we, in general, globally, we see that we talk of 75% and above. That's in an ideal society. So we asked to say, what are the reasons for your high capacity utilization? As you can see, so on this one, because some who are calculus meticulous, why are the numbers percentage not getting? So as a respondent, we asked you to tick all those that are applicable. So that's why you see that the numbers, they are more than 100%. So for instance, availability of market is one of the reasons for most across the sectors. Use of digital systems, again, it has improved businesses for most companies. Availability of capital, use of local raw materials, which should be good news to UPS. I know on another it is the ministry who are pushing local content. So the industry was saying why there has been high capacity utilization for service, because they are using local raw materials, which is good for us as a country. Access to RBZ auction, foreign currency, Dr. Marchel DG, ZBank, this is also good news, meaning that as RBZ you are doing your best to support the industry, commerce and building strategy. So these were some of the major reasons that were articulated by you, industry and commerce players, to say, why is your capacity utilization high? But we also ask you to say, for those where industry and commerce where it was low, or who considered it to be low. For instance, we've said below 75 or 70% is generally considered a low capacity utilization. We want to go beyond that. These are some of the reasons. Power outages, we don't need a prophet. We don't need a prophet in Zimbabwe. It's given as of now. We don't need to interpret them. Foreign currency challenges still with you, RBZ, Dr. Machi. Yeah, on the other end, there are some who are still struggling. So it's an area again that RBZ and the other stakeholders need to push. Obsolete equipment, again, Zimbabweans, most of us, we don't need any interpreter that we know. If you go in the industry, so for instance, here in Harare, we go the Agriculture, the Willowville, we just see, starting with even the building themselves, let alone when you enter inside some of the machineries which are there, some of them of the 1950s. But when you compare with our counterparts within the FTA, whether Zambia or Botswana or some of their machineries in the same sector is of the 2015 or 2019. Ours, some of them in the 1970s. The challenge with obsolete equipment is, besides the issue of breakages, implying that maintenance is part of your large budget as a company to maintain those machineries. Some of them, the machineries, they've since stopped to be produced. Hence, when you want that part, it means you have to order. I give an example. 2014, I was doing something with, I went to Wange. They were saying the latest by then was commissioned in 1987. I'm sure we hear the news about it. And they were saying by then, if you want any component, you pay at least 24 months in advance, so that they manufacture for you, because there are no longer manufactured. So that's the challenge with obsolete equipment. Again, implying to us industry and commerce, we need to gravitate from the machineries which are old and move with latest technology. Another challenge was low product demand. Again, it was a challenge there for some. Delayed payment by government. I'm sure again, this one, the Deputy Minister, Finance and Economic Development, if you are here, I'm sure you are hearing for yourself. And again, without hearing for yourself, which is unfortunate, we need to improve. In most cases, it's unfortunate that government pays late, and it's unfortunate. We need to improve. Otherwise, it becomes a challenge. So when we were interacting with you, industry and commerce, the industry and commerce was questioning sometimes this delay by government. To say when we were importing from Ukraine or whatever, you pay upfront. But when it's your local farmers or GMB, what as an example, you forget to pay them. I'm just talking, then you can talk about all the industry or service suppliers to government. They are saying government pays a bit late. So this is an area for improvement if you are to move. Otherwise, you may end up now some suppliers delaying or not being available to service you as government. So it's a challenge there. Corruption, lastly, is a way why things are capacity utilization low. We don't need an interpretation. As for Zimbabweans, we are there, we have perfected ourselves as corrupt people in business every day. With due respect, to get anything in Zimbabwe, to get electricity, you can't just get it, you need to pay something. To get water connected to you, to get a driving license, I just mentioned you, name it, even in private sector. So this is the country that President said, for corruption we have perfected ourselves. And it's unfortunate as a country. We need to seriously move away from that. Some of it is daylight corruption, some of it is mean good within the papers. I was talking to someone, says city councils doesn't come to collect anything in our neighborhood, but the bill continue to increase. People are saying this is corruption, as an example. But for corruption, ladies and gentlemen, We are unfortunate in Zimbabwe. We have to cry to say, how can we be delivered from this demon? Because you don't get anything. I was seeing in the paper somewhere today say, getting from one school places. Some of you have kids or relatives, it's a challenge. The places are there. But the issue is that you don't just get, you go into the courts. I'm talking things that were in newspapers. The courts where I saw respected people crying to say, the courts, corruption is everywhere. So this is where we are. And business cannot move when it's like that. To get your electricity, you need to. I was talking to one industry, say, no, they already pay to ZESA in their region a token so that they are not on the shutdown grid. Not a formal payment. So that's where we are, which is unfortunate, but that's the facts. So, ease of doing business, we just selected here to just, as an example, paying tax, where the tax system regarded by respondent is punitive in nature. Ministry of Finance, I'm sure you are here, I'm not sure, well, Zimura, we can't blame you, you are just an implementing agent, don't have any powers to make. But the tax system, I'm sure every sector is complaining about the tax system. When, of course, for industry and commerce, when we say tax system, sometimes for them, I know Zibra, they argue to say our tax is low. Now, to lay people like me, when we say tax, we are including all the charges, the rates, the what. So I know in one sector, they were saying there are 22 tax heads, pay as you earn, tax aid levy, this and that, and there were 13 organizations coming to their institutions coming to collect tax. You agree with me when you go even at the reception, you see those A4 papers, whatever, or licenses. Those ones, you ask them how much to have this license, they may tell you 2,000, 5,000, to just have those papers. Go to Botswana, same papers is just $50. That's as an example how. When we say, so when they say tax, they are saying all the charges, be it Zimura, be it City Council, Zinwa, EMA, parks, goes for parks, some will say, if you are a hotel along the main road, to just put your billboard along the main road, it's not for free. You have to pay some tax or whatever charges to some organization. This is just an example. So anyway, procedures or processes described as cumbersome, bureaucratic, costly. Zimbabwe is lowly ranked in this pillar when compared to regional countries. When you compare to out of 180, in terms of ranking here, you see we are above 150 paying taxes. Getting credit borrowing has been mainly for productive purposes. Access to patient cheap capital is limited. We know that access to capital there in terms of borrowing is very limited. If it's there, the interest rates are said to be high. On the trading across borders, infrastructure and ports of entry being upgraded, thumbs up to government. I see the debate which some borders they are upgrading there, which is very good. Border clearance has been assigned only to Zimra. Sometimes the challenge with Zimra, they talk of this as Kuda, where sometimes they say it's down. So which becomes costly when they're crossing borders. What does it mean? Let me just show you how it costs when it's a scooter. When a truck leaves, two trucks leaves Durban, one destined for Harare, another one destined for Zambia. When you get there, the border, sometimes the truck coming to Harare can spend 2-3 days. We are talking of a 30-ton container. 2-3 days at the border. Because the one going to Zambia is in transit, it's cleared sometimes within 30 minutes. The one to Zambia will arrive in Lusaka, whereas the one to Zambia will pass through Harare, going to Lusaka, and arrive in Lusaka and offload. The one destined for Zimbabwe, sometimes still at the border. The challenge comes, those in transport, you know what is called demurrage. Demurrage is like your rent, if you are renting, whether you rent your house out or you are renting. If it's $350 per day per truck, The 3 days it is stuck there because of a scooter or whatever, it's a bad beach. The owner of the truck is counting his or her rate, but the one going to Zambia is already arrived. So these are the practical issues when commerce and industry talk of the issue of challenges sometimes at the border. Other pillars, getting electricity, all the ranks, unfortunately, of ease of doing business. Zimbabwe, we are above 150 out of 180, 170 something world bank ease of doing business. What does 150 mean? As an example, when I was growing up, when like December, kids are closing to visit. When you come with your report, rational parents, if you are number 2, number 3, they will kill a chicken. Is it? Those who were. Now, we are saying if you are a rational person, when you see 150, your child, I'm sure you should sweat with the tears. You don't kill a chicken if you are a rational child. So what it means is, with the rankings of 150 and above, people will just see potential investors and say, oh, let's go to where it is. When you are above 50, challenge. Let's fight as a country because this to be below 50 by implementing what is supposed to be implemented, because these are the ranks used by potential investors. When someone is in Latvia, he or she doesn't know what is Zimbabwe. They don't listen to news, they go to the rankings. The same you do, you want to invest in Kazakhstan. You don't need to go to their news. What do? You go to the ranks, to the rankings. So, ladies and gentlemen, also industry and commerce and government, we need to work together. The rankings are not good. Perceptions, we asked you, participants, industry and commerce, what are your perceptions? Comparing last year, 4% last year said that the business or ease of doing business overall was user-friendly, 4%. This year, it has improved to 9%. Those saying user-friendly. Neutral, the problem with neutral, you can't make a decision with neutral people. So we don't talk much, 70%, but unfriendly, last year it was 79%. This year, 74%. It's a good improvement, but you agree with me? Overall, when 74% of the players are saying it's unfriendly, this is not good news to celebrate. Yes, we have improved, but this is in general not good news. We need, as a nation, all stakeholders to improve. Because the idea is it's us, it starts with us first. To love and to work in our country before foreigners. Foreigners may come and go, but us, we have to improve and ensure that the business, we want a situation where this thing is upside down. When we come next year, where it's 74% unfriendly, we remove the UN and remain with friendly. Maybe where there is 9% with the user friendly, we put a UN there. That's the idea if we are to move and get investors. Challenges weighing on ease of doing business. Some of them we've already talked, so we'll just skip. 80% we're saying policy inconsistency, which I will not say much, but you are all Zimbabweans, you know what is on the ground, how the inconsistency has been doing. We interpret for ourselves. Bureaucracy, we also know, we are in Zimbabwe, we know our bureaucracy, that there is bureaucracy. For anything that you want, it has to be, whether it's a must, but it's just a bureaucracy. That's what is there. Poor utility delivery, well, this one, you talk utility there, among others, we are talking of your water, your electricity, what you call sewage system, what. I'm sure from wherever you are living or staying, you interpret for yourself. We are not doing good. It's unfortunate as a country. We are not doing good. I know everyone in those areas, whether it's ZESA, whatever, they can defend, but we can defend, but the investors we are talking about, even local investors, when it's like this, it discourages to invest. I once asked my students at Defense University, if there was miracle money, Zimbabweans we know, 3 years ago also there were young prophets with miracle money. I asked them, if you were to get 10 million USD, assume you have a house and everything for investment, where do you invest? Even I'm asking the same to you, don't answer, but where do you invest? Maybe except Wachana Kira, who is a loving country, you invest here, is a former, is a businessman. But majority of us, if you get that money, where do you invest? You will not invest here, majority of you. We are patriotic, but let's say facts on the ground. Why will you not invest here? We see it with the results or your behavior. I was talking to some, say, oh, your holidays, you always want outside Zimbabwe. Your kids, you always want them to learn outside Zimbabwe. So when you get money, it means you invest outside Zimbabwe. That's how we interpret. We interpret with actions, not with talking. So that's poor delivery, corruption. We are done with it. Complex tax system, we have talked about limited pay. Complex export-import procedures. When you look at World Bank trading across borders, for Zimbabwe, for exporting or import, you may need 27 documents. Compare with the best in Africa, Seychelles or Mauritius, you need 3-4 documents. So that's how things are. Price fluctuations, well, we interpret for ourselves. Proposed measures to deal. So we did not end to just say, what are the challenges? We said, can you, as industry, economists, what do you suggest should be done whether by private sector, by government, by policymakers, so that we don't just end on the doom end, but we give life. They were proposing we need policy consistency. Again, we are Zimbabweans and some of us who have traveled, we know what is policy consistency mean. To say, as an example, when it's indigenization, for some countries, they were saying it's not about the whether 51 or 49 is the consistent. In other countries, 74%, but they have been stuck with that for 50 or 4 years, more years. Ours, it changes, you can interpret for yourself. This is just, I picked just the indigenous, but we have seen a lot of policy changes here and there. Corruption, we have to reduce. Upgrade e-government system, I'm sure, again, in terms of doing business, some of the, when you have electronic governance, it reduces not only corruption, but also it speeds up in terms of getting whatever approval or whatever documents you may want. Consult before policy changes. With due respect, Deputy Ministers, the President, the PS, the industry comments, they are saying, yes, we may not stop you from doing what you want to do as a government, but here and there consult us so that we also give our inputs. Because government is there to make policies and the level playing field, but the industry and commerce are the ones that run up and down to produce goods and services. The fund, rehabilitated infrastructure, again, that one we don't need much, we know what it means. Simplify government processes to say whatever the exports or import permit, as an example, under your ministry, PS, they are saying, can you simplify those things? Or the permits. One was giving an example to say, okay, you want to import or export live animals. Then there is one center, where is it? Is it Malonde or what? In Zimbabwe. Just one center to approve that, quarantine center. You are in Wange, you fly, or in Vic Falls, you fly to Harare, you come on a Monday. You hear, no, the person is on leave. You come after 2 days. So you are caught between, but because of the whole system, they say, no, he's on leave, but you know, he's around, he's in the town. Maybe if with the transport, he can come to sign. Where I want to bring is the issue of corruption, because you are from Bulawayo or from Vic Falls. You have come on Monday. Either you have to book a hotel Monday, Tuesday, and see the person when he's there. That's the cost. And change the fact. Or you just say, no, he comes, or $500, he signs, he goes back. So these are the practical issues I just picked one of that we have that center, just one in Zimbabwe. I don't know the nitty-gritties behind, but all we are just saying, if it was e-governing, I think it was going to improve. Reduce tax rates and tax bans, reduce interest rates, these are very clear. So, after that, we moved to business confidence index. So, how do we read this index? This index is computed in some mathematical formula which is not for, well, you consume it in the book, but I will not terrorize you with the questions and what. But how do we interpret? It ranges from minus 100 up to 0. Minus 100 up to 0 means lack of confidence. Then from 0 to 100 means positive confidence. So on the extreme, if it's, of course, the extreme is there. If you are minus 99, it means there's serious lack of confidence. If you are on the positive 99, it means this is things are perfect. Very much confidence under the face of the sun. Now, unfortunately, our confidence index, the overall one, the average is minus 42. This shows lack of confidence in the by the industry and commerce across this. So, for instance, what on the issue to do with the general domestic economic situation, the confidence. The confidence is negative. Business sector situation, the confidence not good. The ease of doing business, the one we just showed a bit, minus 45. Access to credit, minus 46. All you can see for yourself, that's what we got from you, industry and commerce. The confidence across these various aspects of business is not good. And this also means us as Zimbabweans, in the private sector, in government, we need to do our best to. This business confidence, the negative, they are coming from what we just showed, all those issues that are not good. Ease of doing business, among others. So that's where we are. We also went to another index called Purchasing Managers Index. This one, it ranges from 0 to 100. It's all positive, but when you are close to 0, it means the confidence is not that good. Well, as you can mark, when you are writing an exam, it's 0 to 100, is it? Those with the kids who are Form 4, very soon there will be results. When at the Form 4 level, when you are 34% and below, they say you are graded. So, all we can see is the current performance. We're comparing this 2022 versus last year. Then we also compared this year into next year. Despite all those challenges in terms of just checking at the Purchasing Managers Index, we see there is an improvement, or there is expected improvement overall from 9 to 18.7. Then you can see a business or production activities from 8 to 14.5. There are expected improvements in this particular index, but overall out of 100, you can see it's not that good. It's not that good. Again, it calls upon us, the private sector, government and policymakers, to do what we can do. Last year, we asked to say, so that last year we proposed the recommendation in the inaugural survey of last year. And those recommendations, ZNCC did put them in a policy brief which they submitted to the parent ministry, and the ministry shared with cabinet and other. So what we're doing now in this survey was to say, to ask industry and commerce to say, what are your views with regards to the implementation that we proposed last year? What have you seen on the ground? Are you satisfied with what has been done or not satisfied? Or you can say these recommendations were never implemented. So that's what we have there. Improve the ease of doing business. The views are that 36% were saying, government, yes, we are happy with the implementation that government had done. Implementing the last year recommendations. Then number 3, improve macroeconomic stability. 21% were saying, we are happy, we are satisfied with what the strands and efforts that government have done to implement the recommendations that were done around the area of improving macroeconomic stability. The same number 5, improve access to foreign currency. 21% were saying we are happy with what government or Reserve Bank has done in terms of putting measures and recommendations that were proposed by industry from previous survey about improving access to foreign currency. So that's how we interpret not satisfactory, straightforward. Then the others will say never implemented. All we are saying is, as ZNCC, this is something that is commendable to government, that government, despite all the challenges that government is trying to fight, government has also listened to the recommendations that came from you, which is also good news to us, industry and commerce, that government is listening. Of course, they might not be 100%, but government is listening and implementing in the midst of various priorities that government normally deals with on day to day. Policy suggestions, so these are the suggestions that came and they will be compiled by ZNCC and forwarded to government, so that come next year, we also want to review to say how far have government or arms of government, etc., implemented. So, prioritize macroeconomic stability and maintain fiscal discipline. So, these are one of the recommendations to say government, Minister of Finance, RBZ among others, prioritize macroeconomic stability and maintain fiscal discipline. So I'm happy Minister of Finance is here, RBZ is here, among other government arms. External areas clearance with a view to open up new lines of business. We have, it's a policy suggests that we need to clear our debt. Unfortunately, Zimbabwe, we are known out there as people who borrow and forget to pay back. That's how we are known out there. So the recommendation is, no, let's pay back so that, and even at household level, when your relative always go, he or she forgets to pay back, the following day, then he says, I think I will stop giving him or her money. So that's what I said there. Enhance the efficiency of foreign exchange market, facilitate deliberate stakeholder consultations and impact study before statutory instruments are introduced. Stakeholders, industry and commerce were saying, yes, it is in the purview and the mandate of government to come up with policy changes and statutory instruments, but they were saying industry will appreciate to have also been consulted. Then government can proceed with their statutory instruments. So industry is saying for things that affect the industry, we need to be consulted. And consultation is before it's consultation. It doesn't mean they will do it, but at least they need to put their voice. Then a government can proceed with their statutory instrument or whatever. That's the appeal there. Capacity, ZAC, Zimbabwe Anti-Corruption Commission, effectively fight corruption. Why is it there? We have noted in the budget that was presented by the Minister of Finance, Professor Ntuli, that there is a sizable amount allocated under ZAC, so that is commendable. We have Commissioner Mpoban, apology if I misspell, Commissioner from ZAC. So I'm sure, Commissioner, this is good news to you as ZAC. So people are saying again, Commissioner, once you are capacitated like this, we want to we will see the results by our ranking, and also even us to see in our own, on our own, to say, now corruption has gone down. That's the results that people, the sector want there. Not only the ranking, but also everyone to say, now corruption has gone in some of these sectors. So we should the best commissioner exactly with that budget address the issues as raised under the ease of doing business, such as simplified tax system, ensure adequate local generation and supply of power, expedite upgrade of country's hard and soft infrastructure. So with this, let me end here. I know I've taken much of your time, but I'm sure that's why we are here for this start. So now, Chairman, I can give you the time. I leave it to you. You can now clap hands for me. As I said.
Certainly, you deserve a bigger and better job. Thank you very much, Prof. I want to agree